Sammy, welcome back. It's nice to see you again.
It's awesome to be here. Thanks for the invite.
All right, Sammy. So, can you just give us an update as to what Blades Labs has been up to recently?
Yeah, absolutely. So Blade Labs, as people know, we're well known for the Blade wallet. It's a B2C wallet. You can download it today. We, from the beginning, were quite focused on the enterprise use cases of our wallet. One of our first use cases was LG Electronics. Then we ventured and started providing our tools to companies like Karate Combat. We provided to, Nada, Slime World, people know. They also have another, let's say, 10, 15 games that are in the pipeline. And we have recently been working with regulators, also working with larger system integrators to be able to provide our wallet technology to more regulated institutions. So that requires actually a lot of coordination with different parties. It's not just simply a technical problem. We also have to solve a legal problem and also a business development problem. So we've been really going deeper. We want to start capturing the contracts that are much bigger. They range. So right now, the biggest contract that we have ranges maybe 500,000 to $1 million. We're aiming to get to the two, three, $4 million contract, which is sort of like, you purchase Salesforce, and then, along with the Salesforce, you're required to kind of purchase this long contract. And so, that's what we've been doing on the wallet side. Now, we have also from late last year started really delving deep into digital securities. There's a distinction between digital assets and digital securities. Digital securities is basically sort of real world traditional securities that we are digitizing and putting it on the ledger. So these are actually things with ISIN numbers, right? Like money market funds or mutual funds. And we're working with asset managers that have the licenses in place that are essentially tokenizing these assets. And the problem that Blade Labs is solving is we're solving the distribution problem of digital securities. What does that mean? So, I mean, pretty much every day now you hear new things are being tokenized, right? Of course, commodities are being tokenized. There's tokenization platforms coming out from the wazoo. Of course, in our ecosystem, we have, some amazing regulated players. Red Swan regulated by the SEC. We have Archax regulated by the FCA. We have Diamond Standard, who has a very, very good regulatory framework in tokenizing commodities. Now, despite so many assets being around, the amount of demand that these assets see are still very limited, right? And it's a bit odd because these assets exist. The demand we also know exists because there's a lot of idle digital assets that are out there that are looking for yield. But somehow the two don't connect, right? The volume in the tokenized market is considered, I think, about $1.5 billion of value is basically going through, which is really nothing compared to the amount of potential tokenization assets out there. So this is a problem that we've been really delving deep into for about 6 months, and we think we have identified the different components that allow the transactions to flow in a compliant manner, in a seamless manner, and also in a way that's very scalable. What does that mean in layman terms? It means that soon we will be able to see not hundreds of millions of transactions go through, but potentially tens of billions of transactions go through the Hedera network and also in various assets, not just money market funds, but mutual funds, commodities, and some of the other assets.
So, Sammy, I'm kind of curious. I think people that are native to this space understand the benefits really well, but maybe some of the users that are the ones that are buying these traditional assets, these stocks and bonds and money market funds, they may not understand it as well. And that might be why we're not seeing as much volume. The fact that these are bearer assets, that even though you're getting a yield, you can use it for collateral or it can be moved as easily as cash. So some of the other benefits, almost instant settlement. I know that that's going to take a little while, but I mean, in the traditional markets, this is 3 to 5 business days or whatever it may be. We can have instant settlement with these things. Do you think that it will take a while before they realize these benefits, or if these benefits can even be used on these platforms that we're starting to see built?
Yeah, so we think that that problem has been solved. In other words, it's not an education issue. So we speak to custodians of digital assets, and they have these digital assets that they're custodying on behalf of their customers. Those digital assets are not yielding anything at the moment. And we go to them and we're like, hey, we have regulated assets, the highest quality assets available. Would you like to purchase? 100% of the time, they say, yes, we would. But legally, we're not allowed to buy them. The APIs aren't available because it's very, very siloed, right? You actually cannot expect these custodians to go to different marketplaces to buy different assets. And then number 3 is there's a lot of business development work that is required to connect these assets to the investors, right? I mentioned, for example, Red Swan, regulated by the SEC. They have a certain way to tokenize assets. I mentioned RTAC, regulated by the FCA. They have a certain way that they tokenize their assets. Diamond Standard has their own way. So they're all tokenizing, but tokenizing under different frameworks, different regulatory regimes. And so it's still not as compatible as these custodians of digital assets would like it to be. Now, if we can provide them with a simple and regulated way, simple, in other words, we're literally just placing a button in their UI that allows their customers to consume these assets. Regulated, we're applying for a license in ADGM. I'm here in Qatar right now. We're entering the sandbox here. We're entering the sandbox in Singapore. We've also applied for a sandbox in the UAE. So we're entering all these sandboxes and getting licensed in different jurisdictions so that it would allow us to distribute these digital securities globally and in a regulated way. Once we have these components and once we place these buttons in strategic places, we believe that the flow of money would start. We believe that the value would start to flow.
That makes perfect sense. So now this can be in the traditional financial space, or this can be, retail facing products. But do you have any suggestions on what products the community should try out that is Blade Wallet enabled on the back end?
Yeah. So we have a token drop tool. Now, I was just talking about digital securities, and now we're talking about token drop. Like, what is the sort of similarity here? Essentially, all we're talking about is value distribution, right? If you can distribute value, and in this case, tokens or value, in a seamless manner, right, and to hundreds of thousands of users in a Sybil-resistant way, in a compliant way, potentially some of these tokens require KYCing, then you can actually apply that technology to the other problem, which is the distribution of digital securities. You just basically overlay a KYC mechanism. So we have a token drop tool. There's actually a meme project that want to create communities on Hedera. That's something that we're really focused on. Meme tokens, people have an image that, okay, well, it's really speculative and the price goes up and down. But at the fundamental core, what meme projects are they're creating a community around a certain project, around a certain token, right? And they're trying to activate these communities. Now, if you actually think about the core value proposition of Web3, that's where it began with. It began with creation of community. What is Hedera? It's a community around HBAR. So you might see actually a lot of campaigns. There's a campaign that's ongoing, I believe, by the NADA team. There's some other campaigns. We just provide the technology, but some QRs you might be able to notice that, okay, they're using our QRs. We just want to kind of make sure that we're the technology provider, and we don't, of course, endorse any of the tokens. But if you see some of these kind of token drops going on, then you can assume that it's sort of Blade on the back end. And we would also like to share the console, which is a place where anybody who's watching can initiate these token drops very easily. You can have analytics, and I think there's about a few hundred free drops that are included in the console. So
very exciting, Sammy. Thank you so much for coming on today and explaining it all. And you're always welcome back.
Thank you. Looking forward to being back.
I'm now posting these interviews of Hedera builders independently to my channel. The community, influencers, and media outlets are free to use this content to spread the word on what's being built on Hedera. Once they're all uploaded, you'll be able to go to my channel and search for whatever topic or team you're interested in to find more information. Or you'll be able to get the most recent Hedera news by watching the latest HBAR Weekly Update. So check them out.